Hello, well, this is Leah Brown, the Assistant Director of Education from the Moton Museum. I'm excited to have with me today Christina Tillery. She is a school counselor, and we wanted to have a way to have students talk to a school counselor and just check in, kind of see different strategies to deal with the COVID-19 and just the 2020 school year, how it's just been overturned. When COVID-19 started.
Yes.
Well,
Thank you for having me.
okay, so our first question, can you say your name and introduce yourself?
Yes, so my name is Christina Tillery. I'm a high school counselor for Henrico County Public Schools. I'm really excited to be here. Hopefully I can provide some insight and just kind of some guidance on how we all can move through this pandemic.
Perfect. Okay. What is a school counselor? What do they do?
Okay, so I'm so glad you asked that question because when people think about school counseling, they still have this antiquated idea of their guidance counselor from like the 80s and the 70s. Since then, the role has evolved significantly. We do more than just schedule classes and talk to students about post-secondary options. As a school counselor, we work with students on social and emotional learning and skills. We also work with them with career exploration and academic support. So for school counselors today, we're looking at the whole student. We're looking at the whole picture and also just providing solution-focused brief therapy during the school day through individual counseling sessions. We also do group counseling sessions with students on different topics, ranging anywhere from study skills, grief, stress management, which is one of my favorite groups to do. And we also do a lot of work through our classrooms.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Track this journey. I began my career in education. I was a social studies teacher in Charles City County Public Schools, which I absolutely love. Over time, I realized that I enjoyed working with the students outside of teaching an SOL-based class. And so I thought I wanted to be an administrator, but no, that's not my cup of tea. So just kind of researching the role, having the opportunity to shadow the school counselor at my school, getting her perspective, and that just really led me to apply for the school counseling master's program at VCU. And just taking those courses really just confirmed like, oh, this is for me. This is what I want to do. Because not only are we addressing those social, emotional needs and those academic needs, we do it in a variety of ways. So we don't just sit in our offices all day on laptops. We can give out information, work with students in individual sessions, group sessions, and also in classroom lessons. So it gives me the opportunity to work with students like I want to work with them, and just making sure that they're just as well developed and ready for this world as we were when we were in high school, but hopefully better. I want them to be better than me.
Okay. Oh, definitely important in this constantly changing world to have as many resources as possible for your students. How has COVID-19 impacted your everyday as a counselor?
So definitely just kind of everything has been uprooted when we learned that we were not returning to the school this school year, and having to kind of rely on what the governor is going to say, what the Virginia Department of Education is going to put out, and it kind of just trickles down to each individual schools and making sure that we're giving out the most accurate information. I would say just day to day, just trying to just ease students' fears, families' fears, and also, trying to help them find resources where school might been able to provide you a lunch and some structure and some safety. And if you currently don't have that, how can we get you connected with other organizations to provide those things for you? So every day has been definitely different. My biggest goal concern is just really making sure that the communication is as clear as and as concise. And it's hard sometimes because you hear one thing on the news in regards to like schools, and then you're being told another things. But I really, really working hard to make sure that my family and my students have the most clear and concise information, especially working with high school. So we are, working with our seniors and, making sure that they're good for graduation and what does that look like. But it's been a roller coaster. It has not been easy, and that's okay. Just, also talking to families and students, it's okay. We're, this is our first time in a pandemic. We're learning together, and we'll be better for the next one. No next one, but, I think that does help ease people's fears. Like, okay, it's a little messy right now, but we're trying to carve out a clear path so that everyone is being, treated fairly, being taken care of, and feel supported by the schools.
Yeah. I mean, your comment about how like you're in this together, how, I mean, it's vital to say like, yes, what happened next, but we are together moving forward. Kind of like it's reassuring that nobody really knows, but we're gonna make the best of the bad situation. Which, I can imagine being a high school senior right now, and that entire experience, how it changed everything of what senior year could have been or would have been. So it's super important to have that like support system really for students. So speaking of, what coping techniques have you found or utilized for your students?
So we've put out just different resources for students to use. There's a lot of different technology apps you can use. Calm is a great one. And a lot of apps now are waiving their fees. So it's really basically kind of finding out what works for you. For what I like to talk to students about, during the pandemic and when we're not in a pandemic, for what I like to focus on is my circle of control. Looking at what is within your control, what can you actually have an impact on. The pandemic and the governor and other officials, their decisions, that's out of my circle of control. But what's in my circle of control is how I respond and react to the information and what I do with the information. And so working with my students, well, we can't control the pandemic, but here's an opportunity to take advantage of boosting your grade, or for example, some of my students are essential workers. They're out working, and speaking to them and how to be safe at your job and take care of yourself. So that to me has been the most helpful for me personally, is just working on what's in my circle of control, taking it a day at a time. I'm also finding trusted sources to speak to, whether that be if you are a young person, an adult that you trust to speak to. Sometimes it's just good to process this out loud with a friend, or like I said, just a trusted person, because we can keep all of these thoughts in our head but never give ourselves enough time to process it out loud with someone else. Because what I'm finding out more and more is that I'm not alone in this. Last night, I had the opportunity to participate in a Twitter chat with other school counselors from around the country. And I felt almost like, prior to the chat, just in the past month and a half or so, I'm like, oh my goodness, I feel so inadequate. Am I doing enough for my students? What else could I do? And just speaking to other counselors last night, and we're all kind of feeling the same thing. And it was almost like you said earlier, just reassuring that, wow, we are navigating this together. We don't have this all figured out, and we all are doing the best we can. And that's, and very important. So definitely, stick to what's in your circle of control, find a trusted individual, and give yourself grace. You know, I I think we live in a culture of hyper productivity, and you know, that's okay. Some days are on and some days are off for me, and I'm okay with that now, because we are also in this collective grieving era. Especially when you think about our students, especially when you think about our seniors, I really feel for the class of 2020, whether high school, college, graduate school. The class of 2020, they're not getting to celebrate as they probably had planned. And you know, it's been great that a lot of programs have like kicked up. Like, I love the community parades. I see a lot of adopt a senior pages on Facebook, and those are all wonderful things. But you know, we're still kind of grieving some of the festivities and the celebrations that we had planned and no longer can do. So I say, allow yourself, you know, allow yourself that grace to have an off day, because we're also grieving the normalcy of what life was.
Absolutely. I think the weirdest thing for me in this time period has been how it feels normal, but it's not. There's pure chaos. Wake up, go to work, home. So try and like take the moment and say like, oh no, something is off, and give that perspective of what's going on in the wider world.
Yeah. No, and I definitely agree. I've gotten to the point where I got into somewhat of a routine. And even today, you know, this week is Teacher Appreciation Week, and our administrative team has done a great job at highlighting our teachers and including other staff members like us who are counselors. We teach in some aspect. But going today, they had like a lunch pickup, and you know, I went and picked up my lunch, and I just to see my coworkers' faces, I was like, oh, I miss you guys so much. You know, forget this little routine that I have created to feel somewhat normal and have some structure. I miss you guys. I miss being with you all. So I do think, like, you know, once we're kind of deep into this, you know, and some people may have created a routine to have a sense of normalcy, but then I feel like something happens and snap us back, like, oh, well, hold on, you know, this is not how life was 3 months ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any advice for your
Can you say the last part again?
have any advice for your students you want to share?
Well, I love my students. My advice to you all is to do what's feel right for you in this moment. Once again, I don't believe in hyper productivity during a pandemic. You know, don't force yourself and don't overwhelm yourself. But you know, this is a time to just kind of be still and kind of reflect and really think about, you know, what it is that you want to do and how you want to do it. And it's a great time to be resilient and to be, persevere. And if you need anything from anyone, you know, don't hesitate to reach out. I know I service a small compared to the whole state. You know, if someone is watching this and attends a different school or another school district, you know, the schools, we are here for you. I think all schools throughout all of the localities in Virginia have done a great job of stepping in where some agencies should have. Schools are out here providing meals, support to students and the families. So if you are a student and you feel like you could use additional support, you know, feel comfortable reaching out to any trusted adult at your school, because we're here for you guys. You're definitely not alone through this, and you'll be stronger coming out of this, as we all will be.
Well, perfect. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Oh, I would just say to everyone and anyone who's just watching, take it a day at a time. Continue to be empathetic to others. For some, I personally and thankfully have not been impacted by COVID-19, but knowing some people who have already lost family members, or knowing that some people are at higher risk of contracting the virus, we have to be there for each other. We have to be empathetic and understanding in this time. It's not a time to point fingers and blame. It's just really time to uplift and support each other. So just take it a day at a time, continue to love one another so that we all can come through this pandemic stronger and better.
Perfect. Well, thank you much for your time. Thank you so much for your time. I was glad we had the opportunity to come together and just chat a little bit about like the reality check, why everything is different, how it's different, and how to move forward.
Yeah. And I would say anyone watching this, if you want to connect, I would say probably the best way is Twitter. You can follow me at Tillery Councils, TILLERYCOUNSELS. Don't judge me. I forgot to spell for a second. But and not only just take care of yourself, honestly. We never, I'm pretty safe to say that everyone currently living had never lived through a pandemic, unless the Spanish flu was 1918. So, I mean, we probably do have some. Some. But, for the rest of us, it's our first time. And we have to be there for each other and do what's right. So please stay at home. Don't spread the virus.
Oh, thank you so much for your time. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you, Leah Brown.
I'm going to re-ask so Kanan can tweak it. It's great having an editor. You ready?
Okay.
I don't have to answer it because you already answered it.
No problem. I feel like I need to explain the role of a school counselor better. I want to do that over.
I mean, we can. Because that's what
Oh, so that's the one you wanted to redo too.
I was like, one
so
thing.
You guys gonna copy and paste? Not copy and paste, but edit everything?
We're gonna.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, I just got a reminder that we're supposed to have a meet and greet for Virginia School Counselors Association in Williamsburg this evening. That's another sad part we don't talk about with the virus and the stay at home. It's getting all these notifications for stuff you're supposed to be doing.
Like about a concert too. It's okay. My birthday. It's fine. It's fine. I was like, Mama.
Right, let me get my answer correct. I missed a domain. Social emotional academic. What am I missing? Hold on, Leah. Don't judge me.
Emotional learning. Also, Mama said hello. Mama Brown said hello.
Tell her I said hello. I have not seen her. Career. Gosh, how did I forget career? That's sad.
Thursday.
Oh my God. Academic, emotional, interpersonal, post-secondary options. Okay. So I'm ready for the question again when you are ready.
Okay.